Hello and welcome to National History Day in Korea. I am looking forward to working with all of you at the contest on Saturday, February 24th at Korea International School. In this online judges training module, we're going to talk about what the NHD contest is about and your responsibility as a judge. Please feel free to stop the video if needed to take notes, and be sure to complete the brief quiz after watching the video. We have a lot of new judges this year, so I want to spend a minute talking about how the contest works and where our contest today fits into the bigger picture. There are 5 categories of student entries, all of which can be done individually or in a group, with the exception of research papers, which may only be done by individuals. In addition, we have 2 divisions, junior or middle school for grades 6 through 8, and senior or high school for students in grades 9 through 12. So in total, there can be up to 18 different judging categories. This year at NHD in Korea, we have over 300 students from 17 schools with student entries in all 18 judging categories. In most affiliates, students compete at the school and regional level before moving on to the affiliate level. Most of our students are competing for the first time here at KIS, and most of the entries you will see will not move on to the national level. Therefore, our goal is to provide all students with a positive and memorable experience that will encourage them to keep learning and reaching ever higher. There's a saying in National History Day that it's more than just a day. Let's break it down into the process for a student. Some students have been working on their entries since August. What you'll see at the contest should be a culmination of a lot of research and analysis. For most of the kids, the cycle ends in February with the affiliate contest. But those who advance to the national level will have the opportunity to fine-tune their entry based on your feedback. This is why you, as a judge, are so very important to the contest. Coffee and snacks will be available in the judges' headquarters at KIS starting at 8:15. Please arrive by 8:30 so you can meet your judging partners and pick up your welcome and instruction packets. Once you have interviewed all of your students, you should return to the judges' headquarters to finalize rankings and completely fill out student feedback sheets. You're more than welcome to stay for lunch and the award ceremony. Ideally, there'll be 3 judges on each team. The captain is responsible for guiding the team in accomplishing the necessary tasks. Captain does not equal commander. This person is an experienced judge who guides the others on the team. He or she does not have greater power. If a team cannot reach a consensus, you should ask me for advice. This goes for both preliminary judging and judging on the day of the contest. To provide a focus for student research and topic selection, the NHD contest has an annual theme. This year's theme is Conflict and Compromise in History. It is a big and broad on purpose to give students a lot of leeway. The student's task is to justify how their topic fits the annual theme and demonstrates historical significance. Please note, students may choose to focus on one part of the theme, conflict or compromise, more than the other. The most important part of evaluating entries is historical and research quality, followed by relation to the theme. Do not get hung up on clarity of presentation errors that can be fixed. Typos, glue smears, improper formatting, etc. can all be corrected before the next level. We'll talk more about this shortly. Be careful not to get swayed by the cute factor, especially by our cute little middle school students. At the end of the day, you want the students to understand why you evaluated their work the way you did. The evaluation form is your tool. Students will review your evaluations very carefully as they try to understand why you did or did not advance their entry. Help them by checking boxes in the same range and writing clear, unambiguous, and constructive comments. It is important to know that National History Day is far more than a one-day contest. In 2011, an independent formal evaluation of NHD assessed students in 4 different schools. Using standardized tests, writing samples, and critical thinking exercises, researchers compared students who did and did not participate in NHD. They found that NHD students outperformed their peers at all learning levels and for all subject areas beyond social studies. Overall, NHD students are better writers and better at critical thinking and analysis, as well as perseverance, time management, and communication. precisely the skills that we, as educators, strive to teach our students. There are some basic rules for evaluating entries, no matter what category you have been assigned. First, be consistent. Whether it's your first entry or your last, greet all students the same way and try to ask some similar questions. Regarding personal bias, please strive to demonstrate the same degree of interest regardless of the topic. Even if you've seen the same topic before, remember that it's the first time for the students. Similarly, don't show favoritism based on your own interests. We're on a tight schedule and want to make sure each student gets an equal and fair amount of time to explain why and what they have researched. A quick note here. Students are not presenting their entries. You are engaging them in a conversation about the entry via the interview. No telling means that you should not discuss entries within earshot of anyone except fellow judges, and you should always assume that parents, teachers, and students are watching and listening. There's nothing earth-shattering here, just a quick reminder. You will only have 15 minutes per entry. It is important to ask and read for the process paper and annotated bibliography, but make sure you try to stay on schedule. As you heard earlier, your comments are very important to all the students, whether they advance or not. This is the most valuable feedback they will receive regarding their entry. You will have taken notes as you evaluated the entry and interviewed the students, but please spend some time in the judges' headquarters completing the comment section of your judging forms. Each of the judges should complete a separate evaluation form. This way, the students receive more feedback. These forms should not be identical. Instead, they should be complementary in tone and range, meaning that one judge shouldn't check superior if the other two check good. The comments must reflect the boxes that are checked. Why is it superior? What needs to be improved? And so on. The very best, the very worst, and every entry in between deserves ample comments. The students have literally worked hundreds of hours for something that you will review in just 15 minutes. Make it worth it to them. Here are some examples of constructive comments. Don't worry about memorizing these. They will be included on a handout that you'll get on the day of the contest. Please have the link to the contest rules open if and when you are prejudging websites, documentaries, or papers. We will provide all judges with a hard copy of the general rules, as well as rules for your particular category on the day of the contest. Always refer to the rules. Don't rely on your memory. This is the procedural part of the judging process. It's important to know the difference between a minor infraction, which should not prevent an entry from moving on in the competition, and a major infraction, which gives an entry an edge above its competition. Please take a moment to read the chart above. When it comes to disqualifications, judges should bring their concerns to me, personally. As the coordinator, it is my responsibility to verify the accuracy of these accusations and notify the teacher and students of the decision. Please do not use the word disqualification in reference to anything other than the 3 violations that lead to disqualification. These are reusing an entry from a previous year, whether it is the student's work or someone else's, plagiarism, or tampering with another entry. This is confusing to the students, parents, and teachers. Disqualification means removal from the competition. During prejudging, please email me or call me if you have any concerns about the entries that you are judging. On the day of the contest, I will be present in the judges' room for most of the day. You can send one of the KIS student volunteers to get me, or reach me by phone or Kakao message. All entries into the National History Day contest, with the exception of research papers, are required to have a process paper. The process paper is not a research paper about the topic. Instead, it should briefly describe why the student chose their topic, how they did their basic research, why they decided on their category, and how their topic relates to this year's theme. There's a 500-word maximum for the process paper. Website judges will find the process papers and annotated bibliographies integrated into the websites. Students entering the performance, documentary, or exhibit categories should provide copies of their process paper for the judges. Judges should evaluate bibliographies based on the strength of their sources, the breadth of the research, appropriateness to the topic, and a young person's ability to investigate the sources. Annotated bibliographies are directly related to the criteria of historical quality. They show the extent and value of a student's sources. They are critical and must be reviewed. Thicker does not equate to better. Quality matters more than quantity. Depending on the topic, source availability varies. For example, a student researching Alexander the Great will have access to fewer primary resources than one who is researching the Cold War. Students should not be penalized for this. If you are unsure why a student classified a particular source as primary or secondary, ask them that during your interview. All entries are required to have an annotated bibliography, and students should provide a copy for each judge. Again, the exception to this is the website category, where the annotated bibliography should be embedded on the website. The purpose of the interview is to clarify any questions or concerns you have and to provide interaction between the professional and student. Please spend the same amount of time talking with each entry and try to ask the same questions of each. Do not tell students what their evaluations are or who the winners are. Ask questions of substance regarding the topic. Why did you choose this topic? How did you begin your research process? What was your most important source and why? These are just some of the questions you can ask. Please see the larger list of sample questions provided in your handouts on the day of the contest. Discuss is a different color because you should be very careful about discussing entries anywhere except in the judging room. You need to stay on schedule, and everyone will be trying to listen to you and watch your body language. Unless you have complete privacy and the luxury of time, it's best to make notes and hold discussion for when you return to judging headquarters. Again, here are some examples of best practices. You will have a copy of this in your packet on the day of the contest. On the day of the contest, it is important to complete the consensus forms as quickly as possible, so I can collect them and organize them for the award ceremony. Those of you who are prejudging websites, documentaries, and papers will also be required to turn in preliminary consensus forms by the end of the prejudging period. However, please note your rankings may very well change after interviewing the students. In the past, we've seen rankings shift in both directions based on a student performance during the interview. The interview can be key in discovering if the student has conducted their research and created their entry on their own, or conversely, if they've had unacceptable input from parents or even Hagwon tutors. We've already discussed the evaluation forms in general. These are to be completed in the judge's room. There will be short feedback surveys in your packet. Once you've completed and handed these in, I will give you your professional development certificate. Before we look at the rules for individual categories, let's talk about some common NHD misconceptions. All of the statements on this slide are false. In regard to interviews, while oral history interviews with primary sources can add quality to an entry, interviews with experts are not necessary. History Day entries are designed to stand on their own. Students should not be actively presenting them to the judges. And as far as a winning formula, there isn't one. What you are looking for is a complete entry with a thesis, evidence, multiple perspectives, analysis, a conclusion, and demonstrated historical significance. Also, keep in mind that our students who advance will have almost 3 months to fine-tune their entries. If a student has great research and enthusiasm, but a lackluster entry, your comments as judges can guide them to develop a more professional entry. These are the rules specific to the exhibit category. They're explained in the rule book, and you will have a copy of them on the day of the contest. One of the new rules is the credit of visual sources. This should be brief and does not count toward the 500 student-composed words. However, captions on visual sources do count. At the national level, judges actually count the words. You don't need to do this, just eyeball it. If you feel it's over the limit, you can ask the student during the interview, or ask me to take a look at it. Documentaries are also prejudged. but you'll be screening each documentary on the day of the contest. All documentaries will be set up in the judging rooms. Students should not use their own device to ensure that the documentary you are watching is the one that was submitted by the February 2nd deadline. Performances must be original. Students may not use scripts written by other people. Performers should display stage presence and have clear and audible voices. Costumes should be appropriate for the topic and not confuse or overpower the performance. Please take into consideration nerves, forgotten lines, and audience applause or laughter when timing the performance. One judge on the team should be the timekeeper. Research papers and websites are also prejudged. This year, these are our most popular categories, with many students entering. Judges in these categories can expect to receive their judging packets by Friday, February 9th. It is important that all prejudging is completed by Friday, February 16th. During prejudging, each judging group will be asked to select one entry to move on to the final round of judging. It is important that you speak with the members of your judging team and come to a consensus agreement during prejudging. Thank you all for volunteering to be judges for National History Day in Korea and for watching this short video. I'm looking forward to seeing and working with all of you at National History Day in Korea on Saturday, February 24th at the Pangyo campus of Korea International School. See you there.